Hello, everyone. We are going to talk today about marketing fundamental, week number 2. Today, we will discuss about the global marketing environment, what are different factors and those factors affect directly or indirectly to businesses. The global marketing environment. First, we need to understand what is mean by global environment and global marketing environment and what are the factors included behind it. The marketing environment consists of the actors, stakeholders, or individuals and forces which affect the company's capability to operate effectively in providing products and services to its chosen market. So there are main two factors. Number one is micro environment and number two is macro environment. So these two major factors, they affect any marketing environment. Let's talk about the company's micro environment. In company's micro environment, there are many factors. Those affect companies or the businesses directly. Number one, company itself, and then you can see suppliers. There are different suppliers. They affect the company's environment, as well as intermediaries like channels, different distribution channels, competitors, and then publics, stakeholders, and customers. So these are all factors which affect the companies. These factors are called micro environment factors. Here we can see these are macro environmental factors. These affect as well directly to the businesses. Here is a company, is it any organization, political factor, environmental factor. Here you can see social factor, technological factor, economical factor, and legal factor. So these are 6 factors. They affect directly to any business. We will discuss each factor separately. So basically in global marketing environment, there are a mixture of macro environment and micro environment. As here you can see in gray, in the blue, the micro environment includes political and legal, ecological, technological, social and economical factors. So these factors are called macroeconomical, macro environmental factors. And then here we can see there are customers, competitors, distributors, suppliers. These are called the micro environmental factors. Those affect companies directly. So let's talk about economic forces. So there are 3 main economic forces. Those affect basically to the companies. Number 1, economic growth and unemployment. Number 2, interest and exchange rates. And number 3, taxation and inflation. So these are the factors, economical factors. Those affect any company, any business directly. We'll talk first economic growth and unemployment. So if there is no economic growth in any country, so the economies will be affected then. The general state of both national and international economies can be profound effect on an individual company's prosperity. Then you can see companies tend to fluctuate according to the business cycle. Yes, that's correct. If there is a slow or there is no economical growth, then there will be increase in employment, and definitely it will affect on the businesses. Number 2, interest rates and exchange rates. Interest rates is the rate at which money is borrowed by the business and individual throughout the world. Interest rates are at historical low level, causing a boom in consumer borrowing for capital investment such as housing. So if there is a high rate of interest, then people they will not be able to buy to borrow the loan for capital investment or to build their to build different industries. And if there is a interest rate is low, then they will be able to buy different loans, and they able to like they must be able to what it can say and introduce new businesses. So a rate of interest is very important when we are talking about businesses. Number three, taxation and inflation. Direct taxes are taxes on income and wealth, that is income tax, capital gain tax, and inheritance tax, etc., etc. Indirect taxes means value added tax, that is also called VAT, excise duties and tariff. That means taxes included in the price of goods we all usually pay when we are buying any product or service. So these taxation and inflation, they directly impact on the businesses. If the rate of tax is high during a particular period, during a particular time, then it means the profitability of their businesses will be affected. And if inflation rate is high, that means it will be also presenting the economic growth, and it will be directly impacting the businesses. Then social factors. Social factor means demographic forces, corporate social responsibilities, and marketing ethics and consumer movements. So these are basic three social factors. Those impact companies, businesses and business environments. Cultural forces. So cultural forces also impact on the business environment. Like culture is the combination of values, beliefs, and attitudes that is possessed by a national group or subgroup. The rapid movement of global population has meant that ethnically based subcultures have jumped up in most developed countries, creating potentially profitable niche markets for profit and products and services. So basically, culture definitely they affect the business environment, and if there is like a rich culture, that it means they are supporting to their businesses environment. Then we will talk about political and legal forces. As we can see recently, just because of Brexit, that has impacted the businesses in the United States, in the United Kingdom, as well as in the European Union. There are different political and legal factors, legal forces. Those impact business environment. Just like Brexit, European Union rules and regulation, pro-competitive legislation, consumer legislation, code of practices. So these are different factors. Based on these factors, they impact basically directly to the businesses. Marketing management must be aware of the constraint on its activities brought about the political and legal environment. So all the marketing management, they must aware, is there anything changes in the rule, like in Brexit or European Union rules. So they must be aware, and they must be act accordingly then. Ecological factors. So there are different factors includes in ecological forces that those factors impact the businesses. Climate change, pollution, conservation of scarce resources, recyclable and non-wastable, wasteful packaging, use of environmentally friendly ingredients, animal testing of new products, use of environmentally friendly ingredients, then corporate social responsibility, marketing, ethics, and consumer movement. So these are basically ecological forces. Those impact the businesses directly. Here we can see climate change is also impacting now to the companies. Climate change has the potential to have a major impact on business and society. Pollution, pressure from the regulators and consumer groups help to reduce the pollution. Technological forces, there are different technological forces. Those impact businesses and business environment as well as their profitability, their growth, etc., etc. So just because of new developments in technologies, we have seen that many companies they are switching off, to the robot technologies and they're offering advanced technology when they're marketing, when they're doing business in the market. So these technological forces include computers, robots, body scanners, camcorders, app, mobile phones, and internet. So these are all different forces, technological forces. Those impact businesses directly. We have seen that there is an example of Amazon. They introduced robot system recently. So in their main warehouses, there is a robot technology instead of human being. There are robots. They are just working and they're sorting their different parcels now. Similarly, there are many companies that have used mobile apps. So when you're sitting at home, so you can use whatever, you can order whatever you want to buy. You can simply place your order sitting at home. So internet is also a factor. Just because of internet, every company is acting like a global village. So just because of this factor, they have reduced their time, their cost, etc., etc. So these are the major benefits of internet and other technologies. So these all technologies, technical forces, basically, those affect the organization or business environment. SWOT analysis is very important for business environment when we are opening a new business or when we are running a current business. So we have to keep in mind the SWOT analysis. We do SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis means S for strength, W stand for weaknesses, O stand for opportunities, and T stand for threat. So basically, when we are opening a new business or existing any business, so we analyze that strength and weaknesses as well as opportunities and threat. Why? Because they want to study the business environment. Strength and weaknesses basically belongs to internal factor of the companies. Opportunities and threat, these two factors belong to the external factors. We have no control over the external factors. However, we have control over the internal factors. These are strength and weaknesses. We can increase our strength time to time. With the passage of time, we can overcome our weaknesses. However, as I discussed, we have no control over opportunities. We cannot stop to anyone to open a new business. And then threat, we have no control over the threat. Anything could happen outside of business environment where we have no control. There is changes in rule or political or economical factor or anything could happen. So we have no control over the threat as well. Let's talk about strength. Strength means things that companies can do well. It could be qualities that separate you from your competitors. It basically, strength provides a competitive edge, competitive advantage from your competitors. Internal resources such as skilled, knowledgeable staff. Yes, it means you have a trained and highly knowledgeable, highly experienced staff. This is also an example of strength. tangible assets such as intellectual property, capital property, and technologies, etc., etc. So these are also strength of any company. If you have advanced technology, if you have a tangible asset, so that means you have a very good strength that belongs to that company, and basically it provides the competitive edge over your competitors within that industry. Weaknesses means things your company basically lacks and things your competitor do better than you. Resources limitation, then unclear unique selling proposition. So weaknesses means you have either a lack of technology, you have a lack of human resource, you have a lack of unexperienced staff, and then you have a lack of financial or human resources, and then we have unclear unique selling position. So these are different factors. Those includes those comes basically in weaknesses. So basically, every company they want to try to overcome these weaknesses because everyone is trying to achieve competitive advantage in that particular market. So companies always they're trying to overcome their weaknesses and they try to get to convert those weaknesses into strength. Opportunities means underserved market for specific products, few competitors in your area, emerging need for your product or service, and then press media coverage of your company. So there are different basically opportunities. Every company they want to keep eyes on opportunities there where they can grow and how they can grow their businesses. For example, if there is no company exist in any specific area, or if any business that has been shut down. So being a marketing management, we have to keep eyes open where is opportunity has been open. So on the spot, we will try to grow our business. We will try to open our new franchise on that specific area. Then threat means emerging a competitor. That it also means that entering a new competitor in your near your location, near your business point, etc., etc. Or it could be changing the regulatory environment. It could be changing the customer's attitude, customer's behavior towards your product. It could be the negative press, media coverage. It could be anything, emerging the competitor. So basically, all companies, they try to avoid from threats. All companies, they try to overcome their weaknesses. All companies, basically, they try to increase their strength. All companies, they are looking after the opportunities to grow their businesses. So these are SWOT analysis. Every company they must analyze when they are doing marketing or when they are analyzing the business environment. Porter 5 forces. Basically, Porter 5 forces, this model was introduced in 1979. There are few forces, those impact the business environment just because, for example, new entrant, buyer's power, substitute, supplier's power, and here you can see the competitive rivalry. In any market, in any business environment, there are few factors. There are 5 basically forces. Those forces exist in that environment, and those basically affect the companies. Let's start with the competitive rivalry within any market, within any business environment. We have plenty of organizations, plenty of companies all those companies are basically a competitor for each other, right? So everyone tried to get competitive advantage over the other companies. So those companies, they will analyze the different forces, right? Uh, all companies basically, new entrants. Let's start with new entrants. All companies, if there is any company that is, so basically new entrants is a threat for all existing companies. Uh, then buyer's power, all companies, all businesses, they analyze the buyer's power. Then they analyze the supplier's power. Either they have to reduce or increase the supplier's power. Then substitute product. All companies, they continuously analyze, they continuously focus that the substitute of product, if there is any substitute of product introduced in the market, it means it will be danger for their businesses. Let's talk about microeconomic variables in more details. We will talk about the Porter's 5 forces. Here we can see new entrants, threat of new entrant. All organizations, all companies, they feel, every time they feel a threat of new entrant. Why? Because they will try to make some barriers for new entrants. Why? Based on these factors: economies of scale, uh, properly product differences, brand identity, switching cost, capital requirement, access to distribution, absolute cost advantage, properly learning curves, access to necessary input, properly low cost product design, government policies, expected retaliation. So these are different factors. Every time the companies, they will try to make these factors, to offer these, to introduce these factors to reduce the threat of new entrants. Just like economies of scales, they will try to introduce, they will try to produce their products in large scales, so the cost of their per unit decrease, and they can get maximum profit. So every company basically, they are trying to focus on these factors. Then rivalry determinants. Here we can see industry growth, fixed cost, value added, product differentiation, brand identity, switching cost, concentration and balance, information, complexity, diversity of competitors, then corporate stake, exit barriers. So these are all factors comes under rivalry determinations. Then buying power of buyers. Every company, basically, they are trying to reduce the buying power of their buyers, because they want to get maximum profit in that industry. So what they do determinant of buyer power: bargaining, leverage, buying concentration versus firm concentration, buyer volume, buyer switching cost, and similarly buying information, ability to backward integrate, substitute product, pull through, price sensitivity, etc., etc. So these are basically factors. All companies they are basically trying to reduce the buying power of their buyers. Substitutes means substitute of product means it could be a different or a new product has been offered in the market. So they have to be carefully think about a substitute of product. So every company they try basically every company basically they try to watch the substitute of product. If any product, once again, if there is any substitute of product has been launched, then it will be threat for your business. Then determination of suppliers power. We have to see that what type of suppliers you are getting material from. Do you have buying power you have a high or low buying power of supplier. So every company, they will try to reduce the buying power of supplier. They will try to get material from different suppliers. So we have to see here differentiation of input, switching cost of supplier, presence of substitute input, suppliers, concentration, importance of volume to supplier, cost relative to supplier, to total purchases, impacts, threat to forward. So these are basically all factors we have to think when we are talking about the buying power of suppliers. So we have to analyze the cost price. We have to analyze about the quality of raw materials, and then we have to think about the industry cost, etc., etc. So these are all factors when we are talking about the bargaining power of suppliers. Every company, they analyze the bargaining power of suppliers, and then they act accordingly. So these are all different factors which comes under the Porter 5 forces. All organizations, all companies, they basically they try to analyze these are all factors. Right. So in this chapter, in this week 2, we have discussed about marketing environment. We discussed the micro environment, macro environment. We talk about 6 different components of macro environment, like economic forces, social forces, political and legal forces, technological forces. We talk about it, and ecological forces we discussed today. And then we talk about the Porter 5 forces. That was important. And we also discuss about the SWOT analysis. Mostly companies, they do when they are analyzing their business environment. So this was your week number 2 lesson. Thank you very much.